it's Kristin, and I have another foundation review for you guys today. Now before I go ahead and get into it, normally you guys know I do foundation reviews with Kirsten from It's Kirsten, and I'll link her below if you're not familiar with her, but she had a sample of this, just a little like a cardboard sample or something that she got, and she knew right off the bat she did not like it in the slightest. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up, if you're an oily skin gal, that this was just not a foundation that she liked enough even to get another sample or to buy it to do a review on it. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that, that is why we are not doing it together this time. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. I think we'll start as normal with me cutting to the demo of me applying the foundation. You can see the coverage and that sort of thing, and then we'll come back and talk about the points. Okay, so I'm just going to put one and like a half pump on my hand there. That's probably too much, but when I'm filming I don't ever want to take the time to go like back and put more. Alright, so we're just going to do half my face so you can kind of see. My preferred method of this for sure is Beauty Blender. I think if you use a flat top kabuki or something like that, you can really get a little bit, it can almost get a little bit cakey. And I don't like putting on really anything with my fingers. I think there are a few select sort of things that I like putting on with my fingers, but so what I like about this is you can do a sheer kind of coverage, which is what I just did there. And it really evens everything out. So you can kind of see the difference between this side of my face and this side of my face. So let me just, I'm going to finish this side of my face, and then I'm going to show you kind of the difference in a second layer. With any foundation that I'm going to want to be a little bit more fuller coverage, which this is a little bit more fuller coverage, I like to do two thinner applications versus one like lay it on thick application. Alright, so there's my whole face with just kind of one. And then I'm just taking what's left on my hand and kind of that 4 spots right there. There's a towel in my lap, by the way. If I don't say that there's a towel in my lap, people are always like, did you wipe that on your pants? And I'm just doing that extra coverage where I like a little extra coverage, which is my chin, my nose, my cheeks, and then just right up here, just to kind of keep it all even. So do you see that? It's just really, really good coverage. Okay, so you can see the coverage of it, and the only thing that I have added on my face, I didn't add any powder foundation, which is what you guys know I normally do. All that is on my face right now is some, blush and bronzer and under eye concealer. I didn't conceal anything, any of my other sort of little, spots that I would conceal on a daily basis, just so you can see the coverage. I love the coverage. I think the coverage on this is great. I think that it can be full coverage, like kabam. It can almost, as I mentioned, you can almost get a little bit cakey if you're not careful in how you apply it. You certainly could apply it with a kabuki brush. As I mentioned, I prefer the Beauty Blender, but you could certainly apply it with a kabuki brush. You just have to be a little more careful with that. But I gave the coverage a full point because I like that it can be a little bit more sheer like you saw on the first application, or it can be built up to what I believe is a full coverage, which is what I'm sporting right now. So coverage gets the full point. Finish, I gave the finish a 0.75. It's a kind of a semi-matte, demi-matte sort of finish. It's not completely matte, and it definitely doesn't, some foundations when they get to fuller coverage like this will kind of just take the life out of your skin. It does not take life out of my skin. And again, I should mention, I forgot at the beginning, I have dry skin that is in good condition. So what I mean by that is when you look at my skin, you don't think that it's dry. But if I wear something that maybe is meant for oily skin gals, or something that will, something that just doesn't work well for me, it will pull the life out of my skin and make my skin look dry, even if it's not. So hopefully that made some sense. So for the finish of this, I'm giving it a 0.75 only because the longevity, which I'll kind of talk about that at the same time. The longevity is amazing. Amazing. This looks great for at least 12 hours, which I really, really like. You guys know that's really important to me. Towards the end of it though, probably the last 3-ish hours, it starts to just look a little dull, which doesn't surprise me. It's been on my face for, you know, 9 hours at that point. So that's the only reason that I gave the finish a little bit less, because it just starts to lose kind of some of what I like about it after about 9 hours. But again, it's really, really, really good. So, all right, so the finish got a 0.75, and then the longevity is a full point. The packaging on this, very, very nice. I like it. I like kind of the frosted glass. It has a pump. I mean, I will almost give foundation a full point for packaging just because it has a pump. But very, very, very nice. Kind of a sleek little bottle. I have no issues with the packaging, so I gave it the full point for that. And then the last one is the color range. And I'm giving it the full point because you can go and have more shades available to you, but I was hesitant. I almost gave it a half a point. And here's why. On Ulta and Sephora's website, it has 12 shades only, but on the Too Faced website, it has 18 shades. Sells for $39 in all places, so the pricing isn't different any place, but not that you would expect it to be. But yeah, so I just wanted to give that a mention, that if you, because when I went to find this, hello, how about I mention, I am in the color Porcelain. I'll link that below, or list that below as well for you. I had to stop for a minute because some truck up there was backing up and it was beeping. So usually in a line, I will check like the second or third shade, kind of depending on the undertone and that sort of thing. And this, so I was checking that. I didn't even check one. I've never been a Porcelain in my life. So I ended up just thinking, oh, maybe there's not going to be a shade to match me. And then I went back and checked, and I thought, well, I'm just going to look. So I checked Porcelain, and it was a dead-on match for me. I think it's a really good match. So in Ulta and Sephora, if you can find your shade there, if you're more on the lighter even than me end, or, you know, much darker skin end, check Too Faced website, because like I said, they have 18 shades where Ulta and Sephora only had 12. And as I mentioned, it sells for $39, which I think is a very fair price for a higher end foundation, especially with what this does. This reminds me, it's not quite as glowy as the Bourjois Healthy Mix, but it reminds me a little bit of the Bourjois Healthy Mix, just in case you're curious as far as coverage and longevity and that sort of thing. So this ended up with a 4.75. The more I used this, the more blown away by it I was, and surprised, and this is definitely one of my finds for 2015. I'm really, really happy with it. So that is my review on the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I hope that you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, anything that I missed, go ahead and leave them below for you, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. On the rest of my face today, oh, and by the way, for primer, I used the Cover FX Calming Primer. I've used this with the Smashbox Primer, no primer. I try it all different ways when I'm testing it, and it really didn't seem to matter what primer I used or no primer. It worked just as well. I just prefer to have a primer on my skin because I'm a little bit more dry, as I mentioned. All right, for blush today, I used NARS Luster, which is one of my favorite blushes of life. On my eyes today, as my lid color, I used the Makeup Geek. I'm going to try to do this without making a mess. And I can't remember what it is. In Birthday Wish, which looks like that. And then I just used a little bit of MAC Soft Brown in the crease. And then for my brow bone highlight, inner corner and outer corner beneath my lower lash line, I used the Naked Basics palette. You guys, I am trying to hit pan on one of these. I'm trying. I'm so close. But anyway, so that is what I used there. And then on my lips today, I have the original, because they've changed it, and I don't know if it's the same, Chanel and Mademoiselle. And I think, my friends, that is everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you're having a great day, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.